The war began without warning. One moment, Earth was quiet. The next, the skies were full of fire. Giant ships appeared, blocking out the sun. Alien troops landed in waves. Most people didn't even know who the enemy was. They only knew they had to run or fight. Captain Ray Mercer was one of the survivors. He had been on a scouting mission with his squad in the mountains when the invasion hit. By the time they returned, their base was gone. Burned to ashes. His team gone. He was the last one alive. For days, Ray wandered the ruins of cities and forests, hiding from alien drones. His food was low, and he had only one ration left. He told himself he'd eat it only when he really needed it. But now, his stomach growled every hour. One evening, while searching for shelter, Ray entered the remains of an old alien arena circular, cold and built of strange dark stones. It looked abandoned. A fire pit sat in the center, cold and full of ash. But there was something else. A sound. A faint growl. He turned and saw her. At first, he thought it was a beast. She crouched in the shadows, thin, dirty, and trembling. Her glowing green eyes stared at him with both fear and hunger. Her hair was wild and red like flame. Her body was covered in strange markings, her face smeared with mud and blood. Her clothes were torn and barely held together, made from some kind of alien leather. Her hands had claws. Her ears were sharp like a wolf's. She was not fully human. Not fully animal either. Ray froze. She didn't attack. She just watched him. He stepped forward slowly, one hand near his weapon. You okay? She didn't speak. Instead, she sniffed the air. Her eyes dropped to the small pouch on his belt. His last ration. She growled again, louder now. But it wasn't anger, it was pain. Her body was shaking. She hadn't eaten in days, maybe weeks. Ray could see her ribs. He reached into his pouch and pulled out the ration bar. His hand hesitated. That was all he had left, but then he looked at her again. She was scared, alone, like him. He placed the ration bar on the ground and backed away. She didn't move at first. Her glowing eyes locked on the food. Then, with surprising speed, she crawled forward and grabbed it. She sniffed it, licked it, then tore into it like a wild animal. Ray sat near the fire pit, watching in silence. She finished it in seconds. Then she looked at him again. This time her eyes were softer. Still wild, but less afraid. Ray didn't know what she was. A prisoner? A weapon? A survivor like him? But in that moment, she didn't feel like an enemy. The flames of the fire pit were long gone, but something strange warmed the space between them. For the first time in days, Ray didn't feel alone, and he had a feeling this was only the beginning. The girl didn't speak a word. She just sat near the fire pit, eyes half open, her body still tense like she expected danger to come at any second. Ray stayed quiet too. He didn't want to scare her. He watched her movements. Every time a small sound echoed from the walls, her ears twitched. Her eyes would dart to the shadows. She was alert, trained, or maybe hunted. He slowly took off his gear and laid it beside him. Then, using a spark tool from his survival kit, he started a fire in the pit. Dry branches he'd found earlier caught the flame, and soft orange light filled the arena again. The warmth made her flinch at first. But then she edged closer, sitting just a few feet away from him. Ray glanced at her. You got a name? No answer. She blinked but stayed silent. He sighed. I'm Ray Mercer, human, soldier. She stared at him like the words meant nothing. Maybe she didn't understand. Or maybe she just didn't care. Ray took out his canteen and sipped a little water. Then, slowly, he held it out to her. She sniffed again, suspicious, and then snatched it fast, as if expecting him to pull it back. But he didn't. She drank. Not like an animal this time, but carefully, slowly. Like she was remembering how to do it. When she handed it back, their fingers touched for a moment. Her skin was cold and rough, covered with old scars and fresh scratches. But there was strength in her grip too. What happened to you? Ray asked quietly. Still no answer. He leaned back against the stone wall, looking up at the sky through the open ceiling above. Stars blinked faintly. The smoke from their fire curled upward into the night. She left to starve, a voice finally said. Ray sat up, shocked. It was her. Her voice was rough and low, like she hadn't spoken in years. But the words were clear. Left. Where? He asked. She pointed to the edge of the arena. They locked me here. Long ago. When I wouldn't obey. Ray narrowed his eyes. They? Who's they? She growled softly, then stopped herself. Hunters. Scientists. War chiefs? I don't know anymore. I don't care. He could see pain in her eyes now. Deep pain. Not just hunger, but betrayal. You're one of them? She asked suddenly. One of who? Humans. The ones who kill us in the forests, burn our villages, take our sisters. Ray shook his head quickly. No, I didn't do any of that. I didn't even know your kind existed until now. She stared into his eyes for a long time, testing him, searching for lies. Finally, she looked away. I believe you, Ray exhaled. A bit of the tension faded. What's your name? He asked again. She hesitated, then said, Kira. He nodded slowly. Kira, I'm not your enemy. I just want to survive. Same as you. Kira looked back at the fire. Her stomach made a soft growl again. Ray smiled sadly. That was my last ration, you know? She glanced at him. I can hunt. You're strong enough? She gave him a sharp look. I'm not dead yet. Ray chuckled softly. All right then, let's hunt tomorrow. Together. For the first time, she gave him a small nod. Not a smile, but close, and in that dark, ruined place, something fragile began to grow between them. Not trust yet, but maybe. The start of it. Asterisk, the sun rose slowly over the broken world, casting a red glow through the cracks in the stone arena. Ray woke up to the sound of light footsteps. Kira was already up. She moved like a shadow, silent, focused, her glowing eyes scanning every corner of the ruins. Ray stretched and stood up. His body was stiff from the cold ground, but he felt better than he had in days. Maybe because he wasn't alone anymore. Kira turned to him and tossed something at his feet. A small creature, dead, but not yet cold. You hunted that already? He asked. She nodded. Saw it near the rocks. Easy. Ray crouched down. It looked like a wild alien rabbit with extra legs and scales on its back. Not pretty, but food. Kira used her claws to skin the creature. Her hands worked fast, trained. Ray started the fire again. It didn't speak much, but they moved like a team. Once the meat was cooking, Ray sat beside her. How long were you trapped in here? Kira didn't answer at first. Then she said, many moons. I don't remember how many. Ray looked around the arena. Why didn't you try to escape? I did, she said. They shocked me, chained me, broke me, then forgot me. Ray clenched his jaw. The idea of leaving anyone to starve like that made his stomach twist. Why would they do that? I was made to fight, she said, in war arenas. Against others like me. They called us beasts. We fought for their pleasure. Ray's eyes widened. Like a game? Kira nodded. Until I refused. And they punished you for it. She looked away. They said I was useless, a broken weapon. So they left me here to die. Ray sat in silence. He couldn't find the right words. He looked at Kira, her scars, her strength, her silence. She had survived hell. The meat was ready. She handed him a piece first this time. He smiled. Thanks, she shrugged. You fed me first." They ate in peace, the fire crackling between them. Suddenly, a sharp sound echoed across the ruins. Metallic whir. Then a red light scanned across the walls. Kira jumped to her feet. "Drone?" Ray grabbed his weapon. "Military?" Kira growled. "Worse, slavers." A sleek black drone hovered above the arena, scanning everything. Then it paused. Its lens locked on them. A loud beep followed. "They found me," Kira hissed. "They always come back to collect what they think they own." Ray raised his weapon. "We're not letting them take you again." The drone spun up a small weapon underneath its body. Kira crouched, ready to leap. Ray aimed, and together they attacked. The drone exploded in a flash of light and smoke, crashing into the stone wall. Ray coughed through the smoke. "That's going to bring more." Kira nodded. "We can't stay." Ray looked at her. "Then we move. Together." Kira's eyes flashed. She didn't speak, but she didn't walk away either. And in that moment, the bond between them became something stronger. They were no longer strangers. They were survivors. Together. They moved fast through the forest, leaving the ruined arena behind. The ground was wet and soft beneath their boots and claws. The air was full of strange sounds, alien birds, creaking trees, the distant hum of more drones. Ray followed close behind Kira. She knew the land better. She sniffed the air often, her ears turning at the slightest sound. She stopped once to check for tracks and then kept moving. "Where are we going?" Ray asked, trying to keep up. "There's a cave in the North Hills," she said. "Old. Hidden. They won't find us there. Not quickly." Ray nodded, breathing harder. "Do you always move this fast?" Kira glanced back. "When death is behind you, you learn." They hiked for hours. Once, they had to hide under thick roots as a patrol drone passed overhead. Another time, Kira pushed Ray down just in time to avoid a sniper shot from the trees. Ray didn't ask how she sensed it. He was just glad she did. As night came, they reached a quiet stream. The water glowed faint blue in the dark. They stopped to drink and rest. Ray sat on a fallen log, wiping sweat from his face. Kira crouched nearby, still watching the trees. She didn't relax, not fully. She never did. "You're always looking for danger," Ray said. "I lived in cages," Kira replied. "If I slept too long, I didn't wake up alone. I woke up in chains or bleeding." Ray felt something heavy in his chest. "You don't have to live like that anymore." Kira looked at him for a long time. "Don't make promises you can't keep, human." "I don't," he said. "I'm not perfect. But I'll fight with you. You're not a beast. You're not broken. You didn't deserve what they did." She blinked, surprised by his words. No one had ever said that to her before. Then her head snapped up. She growled. "We're being followed." Ray jumped up, weapon ready. "How many?" Kira sniffed. "3. Maybe 4. Not drones. Hunters." Ray checked his gear. "Then we stand or we run?" Kira bared her teeth. "We fight." The hunters arrived fast, 3 figures in dark armor, moving like shadows. One had a shock rifle. Another carried a net launcher. "Target confirmed," one of them said. "Female. Bring her in alive." Ray stepped in front of her. "She's not going with you," the lead hunter laughed. "You think you can stop us, human?" "I won't have to," Ray replied. "She will." Kira leaped with a roar. Her claws slashed through the first hunter before he even screamed. Ray fired at the second, knocking him off balance. The third tried to launch the net, but Kira was already on him. It was fast. Brutal. When it was over, the forest was quiet again. The hunters lay motionless. Ray stood panting, heart pounding. Kira's body was shaking, not from fear, but from rage. Blood stained her arms, her face, her chest. Ray slowly walked toward her. "Kira," It's over. She turned to him, breathing hard. Her eyes were wild-eyed, but then they softened. She lowered her claws. I won't be chained again, she whispered. Ray nodded. You won't be. Not while I'm here. And for the first time, she stepped closer on her own. Not like a beast. Not like a soldier, but like someone who wanted to believe she was finally free. Asterisk. The cave was just as Kyra had said, hidden behind thick vines and an old stone ridge. From the outside, it looked like nothing more than a crack in the hillside. But inside, it opened wide into a cool, dark chamber with smooth walls and a soft floor of dust and moss. Ray set down his gear and sat against the wall, letting his tired muscles rest. Kira stayed near the entrance, checking for movement, sniffing the wind. After a while, she stepped inside and lit a small fire using broken roots. The flames flickered softly, warming the space. For the first time in days, it felt safe. Ray handed her a piece of dried meat they'd taken from one of the fallen hunters. She sniffed it, then took it with a quiet nod. They ate in silence for a while. Why did you save me? Kyra finally asked. Ray looked at her. You were starving. I couldn't walk away. You didn't know me. I could have killed you. I know, but you didn't. Kira lowered her eyes. I almost did. That first night, I thought about it. Ray didn't flinch. I know, but something stopped you. She nodded slowly. Your eyes. They didn't see me like a monster. He smiled softly. That's because you're not one. Kira looked away, but her hands trembled a little. They sat there for a long time, listening to the quiet wind outside. The fire crackled gently. Then something sharp cut through the silence. A high-pitched sound. A signal. Kira stood up fast. Tracker. Ray jumped to his feet. What? They marked me, she said. Long ago, inside my body. If the signal wakes, it means they found the trace. Ray cursed under his breath. How long do we have? Kyra sniffed the air. Hours, maybe less. A full team will come this time. Ray started packing. Then we leave now. Kyra didn't move. He looked at her. Kyra? She stared at the flames. We can't outrun them forever. We don't have to, he said. We just need to find a way to remove the tracker. Kyra touched the side of her neck. It's deep. Metal and bone. If you cut it out, I might not live. Ray stepped closer. Then I'll find another way. We'll find another way together. Kira looked at him again. Her eyes were wet now, not with fear, but something else. No one ever said that to me before. He placed a hand gently on her arm. Well, someone should have. You matter, Kira. Just then, the cave shook with a distant explosion. Kira's ears twitched. Dropship. They're coming. Ray clenched his jaw. Then we fight, but not here. We need high ground. Traps. We make them bleed before they touch you. Kyra nodded slowly, her voice low and full of power. Then let's make them regret ever leaving me alive. They left the cave behind. Two survivors. A human and a beast woman once left to die. Now. They would face the hunters together, not as prey, but as the storm. Asterisk. The ridge above the valley gave them a clear view of the sky. Ray and Kyra stood among tall rocks and sharp trees. The air was cold, the sky turning gray, clouds moved fast. The sound of engines grew louder with each minute. Ray checked the traps he had set, simple but effective. Wire lines, hidden spike pits, and an explosive charge he had salvaged from the drone's wreckage. Kira crouched on a rock, watching the horizon. Her claws were sharp, her eyes glowing brighter than ever. They'll come fast, she said. They always do, with fire and metal. Ray nodded. Then we hit them first. He stood beside her, holding his weapon tight. His heart was steady. This wasn't just survival anymore. This was war. The dropship appeared through the clouds, black and sharp like a blade. It hovered, then opened its doors. 6 figures jumped out, wearing black armor with red lights glowing on their helmets. All of them had weapons. All of them were ready to capture or kill. Ray whispered, "Wait, wait." Now, the first hunter stepped into the trap. A blast sent him flying backward into the rocks. Kira roared and leapt, landing on the second with full force. Her claws tore through metal like paper. Ray fired from behind the trees, hitting the third in the leg, then the chest. One by one, they fell, but the battle was hard. One of them shot Ray in the shoulder. He dropped to one knee, groaning. In pain, Kira saw him fall and went wild. Her roar shook the trees. She moved like a storm, slashing through the last 2 enemies with terrifying strength. When it was over, the field was quiet again. Smoke rose from the broken bodies. Ray sat against a tree, holding his bleeding shoulder. Kira rushed to him, breathing hard. "You're hurt." "I've had worse," he said with a weak smile. She tore a strip of cloth from one of the hunter's vests and tied it around his wound. Ray looked at her, surprised. "You know how to do that?" She smirked a little. "I watched." "Learn it. I always learn," he chuckled. "You're full of surprises." Kira sat beside him. "You should leave. Go where they can't find you." "I'm not leaving," he said firmly. "Not without you. I'm still hunted." "Then I'll be hunted with you." She stared at him, eyes soft now. "Why?" "Because I saw who you really are. Not a beast, not a weapon. You're a survivor, a fighter, a friend." For a long moment, she didn't speak. Then she leaned her head on his shoulder. The forest wind blew around them, quiet and cold. And for the first time in her life, Kira felt something she never thought she would. Peace. They didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but together they had survived the worst, and whatever came next, they would face it side by side. Not as enemies, not as strangers, but as something more.